All right, Jalexis Brown, why were you late for court?
I'm sorry, parking took 5 minutes and then the elevator took 4 minutes because everyone wanted to get off on every level but me.
All right, so remember, you have to be here at 9, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you for dressing appropriately for
Of
court.
course.
All right, so we're here today. The state, you were to tender an offer?
Yes, Your Honor, we're happy to do so. I think the only difficulty here is we had talked about kind of discussing things off docket with counsel. We had an issue with discovery where we created records like physically and then the DA's office was unable to find them. So I created a second copy of those and gave them to counsel just now. So it kind of put things in a tougher spot than I'd like us to be in. Again, that was on the DA's office for losing those physical records. So happy to offer something today. But again, given that counsel has only had those CPS records for about 5 minutes, we're hoping for potentially, even if it's later on in the week or something, a couple days, so both parties can have full knowledge of everything before an offer is tendered.
All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna recall this for August 6th, and that's gonna be your plea deadline date,
Yes, Judge.
and you all will need to confer on that off docket.
Yes, Judge.
Perfect.
Could I have a reset form, please? They are updating computers in the back.
One of these days it's gonna get better, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Still currently updating, and it's affected our discovery and e-filing,
Mm-hmm.
everything. You can't file into cases that you filed in before, and everything is tainted. We'll make it here, we'll survive.
All right, once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Okay,
Thank you, Judge.
Have a seat.
Yes.
Okay, I've tried to contact her. I contacted her daughter. It's the only number that worked.
Mm-hmm.
She says her mother's still in Houston, but she didn't know where she was that very minute.
Okay,
Apparently she's staying with her daughter right now.
all right, and what is your client's full name, please?
It's Laquisha Cyphers.
All right, could I see the file on Cyphers, please? Criminal Trial Division on Cyphers. This was set for a contested hearing. She is in Houston, and of course, she's not going to be here. So if you all could confer on a new date. Andrew Guerrero. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
All right, let me just see. Okay, I'm just pulling up his, let's see, 1 second. All right, Mr. Guerrero,
Yes, ma'am.
tell me, how do you spend your day?
If I'm not working, I take care of my dog.
Take care of your daughter? All right. And do you know how much time you're looking at if you were sent to prison?
No, ma'am.
3 years, right?
Yes, ma'am.
There are rules for everybody when they're on probation. Some of the rules are rules that I've given you. Some of the rules are rules that probation has. Some of the rules are mandated. One of those rules is you're not allowed to smoke marijuana, period. So you need to ask yourself, is smoking marijuana worth potentially 3 years of your life in prison?
No, ma'am. It's really not.
Were you acting as though it is? Because you're continuing to test positive for marijuana. Yes.
Judge, Mr. Guerrero was last in court on June the 6th.
Mhm.
And at that point, Judge, you put him on the IVR line testing 2 times a week.
Yes.
I went through and looked at the levels in which the marijuana is coming out in his system. He did indicate he smoked the day before he came to court the last time. Looking at the levels, it seems like they were going down. There was one instance where it was kind of elevated, but then it went down again. And then there was a positive that Mr. Guerrero is saying that absolutely cannot be for cocaine. He is going to go to the Recovery Healthcare Center and pay for the confirmation so that they can retest that urine. The levels are going down. just, he's still testing 2 times a week. He's been compliant with everything else on probation. All of his field visits are going well. He's communicating, and reporting to his officer as, necessary. He has 2 classes left on his anger management to finish that out. And he's gonna start working on his community service hours. There was at one point a mandate for him to get the drug patch.
Mhm.
Judge, I propose, and as we know, he did complete successfully 92 days in state isolation. I propose, Judge, that we do a TAP evaluation to see if any further treatment is needed. Keep him on the IVR hotline, testing 2 times a week like he's been doing until he's negative. And or get a drug patch,
All right.
just to see if we can get that negative baseline. And
Alright.
to see if there's any other treatment that's needed.
Let me just tell you what's going to happen.
Yes, ma'am.
We've been doing this since June with regards to your testing.
Yes, ma'am.
By the beginning of August, you should be testing negative.
Yes, ma'am.
If you're not testing negative in August, a motion to revoke is going to be filed. If your levels go up, a motion to revoke is going to be filed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And people will lament at the prison, oh, I'm just here for marijuana. When what you're here for, if you end up going to prison, is for violations
Yes,
of
ma'am.
your probation. Do you understand?
I understand that, ma'am, but really, I was telling her, ma'am, I've never, for real, and I'm being true, I've never done cocaine in my life.
No, here's the thing. We're not even at that point. Where we are is, what I'm telling you is, if you test positive in August, because you should be clean by August,
Yes, ma'am.
if your levels show that it's gone up in August, a motion to revoke will be filed.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any confusion over what I'm stating?
No, ma'am.
All right, so we're going to continue with the UA hotline, and that's until further notice. And do you need any help? They're asking for a TAP evaluation. Do you need help kicking your marijuana habit?
No, ma'am, I don't. Honestly, ma'am, I don't. Like you said, it's not worth me going to prison for just getting high. I haven't smoked since the last time I came.
Okay.
So I don't understand why, but like she explained to me, it went down, but and then it went up all of a sudden. I have not smoked, not since the last time I came.
All right, so Ms. Abrams, do you still want to do a TAP evaluation?
Yes.
All right, so we'll do a TAP and follow recommendations. Is there anything else?
No.
And how old is your child?
3, ma'am.
3?
Yes, ma'am.
So I will tell you what, if you end up going to prison for 3 years, by the time you get out, she'll probably be 5 and won't know you. So if that's the route you want to take.
I understand.
All right, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Is there anything else that you need help with?
No, ma'am.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, anything else I need to know?
No.
All right, stay in contact with your probation officer, and thank you for dressing appropriately for work.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome. All right, who's here on Jose Roberto Lopez? And where's your client? Come down.
Sure, Gary. Churak.
All right, what's the update on the competency?
We have an informal schedule for the 12th. It was scheduled for July 2nd. It was reset by Angela and Judge Carruthers Court, so the 12th, we'd have an informal to get the thing rolling.
All right, Ms. Ferguson? Recall this back for July 15th. All right, thank you.
All right, Judge.
Jacob Christian DeLeon.
Hey, Judge Boyd, how you doing?
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, man. I'm glad to be here today. I
Oh,
feel like it's gonna be a good day.
okay. All right, we're gonna go on the record. Court is calling 2021 CR 5396, State of Texas versus Jacob Christian DeLeon. We're on the record, no talking in the box, please. If you wish to talk to your client, just ask the deputy to move them down. Can I have the parties announced for the record for the state,
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
for the defense?
Paul J. Smith.
And are you Jacob DeLeon?
Yes, ma'am.
On May 23rd, you entered a plea of no contest to count 1, 2, and 3 to the offense of aggravated robbery. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishment is be assessed at 9 years in the prison. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon, and the state opposes your application for deferred adjudication. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report? State,
Yes, sir.
defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have both parties had a chance to review the TAP report? State,
Yes, sir.
defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the TAP or PSI? State,
No, Your Honor.
defense? Any objections to the TAP evaluation or PSI?
No objection.
All right, any witnesses? State,
No witness for the state judge.
defense? Any witnesses?
One witness.
All right,
So may I talk to you today still?
sure, just one moment.
Thank you.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, and make sure you keep your voice up so that I can hear and the court reporter can hear.
Mhm.
If you'll state your name for the record.
Kristen Lynette Venegas,
I'm sorry, your last name again?
Venegas.
Venegas?
Mhm.
All right, defense?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Would you've already introduced yourself to the court. How do you know Jacob?
Jacob is my brother.
And almost asked, how long have you known him? I decided not to do that. Has he had some trouble in his life?
Yes, since he was born, pretty much. My mom was in and out of the hospitals with him, trying to figure out what was wrong with him as far as like mental health. And they just kept giving him Ritalin, saying he had ADHD until later on they diagnosed him with schizophrenia. But he's always had mental health issues.
And has he, in the course of this case, in my representation, has he been committed to Vernon State Hospital at some point in time?
Yes, he was committed to Vernon back in January. They ended up taking him in. And then he got out, I believe, in May.
And did they find a medical diagnosis?
Yes, she agreed with the medical diagnosis when I had talked to them. The same diagnosis that he's been getting since before he was in jail.
And what is that diagnosis, if you know?
Schizophrenic, bipolar, and then he does have anxiety and the ADHD.
And as a result of that, did they recommend any medication?
Yes, they put him on the right medication in Vernon, and he did so much better from when he first got there to he was leaving. The case manager in charge of his case said that he had, and his behavior had increased significantly with the medication he was on.
Do you know what medications he is on now?
I don't know the names of them. I know that he's on one for his bipolar schizophrenic, and then he was on one to help him sleep.
And have you noticed a significant or any type of change in his behavior and attitude since his return from Vernon?
Yes, I've noticed that he's less aggressive, more happy and optimistic than he was prior.
Yeah. How long has he been in custody, if you know?
3 years this month.
And what kind of work does Jacob do?
Before he came in, he was doing electrical work.
And where was he living?
He had his own apartment. He was living and doing maintenance on that property. He was doing all their maintenance for them.
And now, if the court grants him deferred, the court will want to know, and everybody wants to know, what are you going to do to help make sure he takes his medication?
Well, I know you know, and I'm gonna let the judge know as well, and the prosecutor. We don't have family. It's just us siblings left. All of our family has passed away, so it's just us. And I do everything. I'm the big sister. I am the mom. I will do everything in my power to make sure that he sticks to what he needs to do and try to help him, guide him in the right way so that he can become a good member of society.
Now, he has pled no contest to 3 robberies, aggravated robberies. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of that.
Why on earth would we put a person like that back out on the street?
To be honest, I'm not sure why, but I know that with the right medication and the right help from us, now that that year that my brother got locked up, my grandma had just passed. She was the one taking care of all of us, who raised us after my mom died. She passed away that year, and now I'm taking over, and I just know that I can help him. And the medication that he's on now, that he has the right medication, and he's going to be taking the medication, I know that he'll become a good member of society and get back on the right track where he needs to be.
Educationally, will he complete his GED?
Yes.
What are you asking this court to do?
I'm asking the court to find leniency if at all possible, so that he can, I just had 2 kids while he's been in jail. I had 2 kids and I just want him to know their uncle Jacob. And I would just want him to be out and just not lose the rest of his life for his mental health, and just be out there and just be on the right meds and be with us.
And the court could sentence him, or arrange a sentencing, or the court could place him on deferred type of probation. Is that what you're asking of this court?
Yes, I am asking of this court to find leniency and grant him deferred adjudication.
And the maximum the court can give is 10 years deferred. Are you okay with a 10-year period of deferred?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Back in 2020, where was Jacob living?
Jacob he had his own apartment with Jessica, one of the co-defendants. And then they moved, and then he was living with my sister at the time for a short period of time. He was living with her and working at Taco Cabana.
So whenever this happened, he was living with family or on his own?
He was, right when it happened, he was living on his own. I don't know where he was living from that time. We were going through a loss in the family, so I know he moved in with my sister right after he stopped working at the electrical place. And then from, I believe, May to June, July, my sister, we didn't really have contact with him after that. I know he was going through some stuff mentally, and we just hadn't had contact with him.
Were you aware of the facts of what happened here in this case?
I had no idea what happened, not until he got arrested and they told me what he was being charged with, but I still never knew the details. He never got the court document or like the witness statement. I don't really know what happened.
So no one's informed you that it's alleged in the police reports and by the witnesses that Jacob let in several armed people into a home where people in that home were all robbed. And Jacob was the person who let them in. And he participated in the robbery. Were you aware of that?
I knew that there was a robbery. I didn't know its extent inside of the robbery.
And that at least one of his co-defendants said that it was Jacob's idea.
Excuse me, just one moment. Excuse me, everyone, we're on the record. Everyone needs to whisper. And the tone of voice that you are using when you're not before the bench, bring that same tone of voice before the bench. For some reason, everybody whispers when they're before the bench, but when they're talking in the gallery, they're talking loud. So whisper. If you can't whisper, then you're gonna have to be quiet till we finish with this case. State, continue with your questions.
Were you aware that one of the co-defendants, in essence, said that this was a lot of this was Jacob's idea? Were you aware of that?
No, I didn't even know the other co-defendants. I only knew of Jessica. The other 2 I've never met. I didn't know who they were. I saw them on the no contact on the page that I was given from the lawyer, but I didn't know who they were.
Does it give you any pause knowing now sort of what his role was in this case, that if he was let out on defer, that he'd be around your children?
No, it does not, because I know my brother and I know that he's on the right medication now. And I know and I trust that the state put him on the right medication and got him to where he can be to become a good standing citizen.
That's the witness.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you so much. All right, you can come back forward.
Thank you, Judge Wood.
All right, any other witnesses?
Well, my client wants to say a few words.
All right, if you want to say a few words, I'm going to place you under oath and the state will have a chance to cross-examine you, which means they'll have a chance to ask questions of you.
Yes,
Do you wish to be placed under oath?
yes, ma'am. I thank you for giving me a chance to talk to you.
Sure. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Jacob De Leon.
All right, defense, do you have any questions?
I do. I hope close enough to the mic that the court reporter can hear me.
Yes.
Jacob, you had earlier pled no contest to 3 counts of aggravated robbery,
Yes, sir.
and you're not contesting those counts, are you?
No, sir.
You're here to ask the court for deferred probation.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the court has read the PSI and Sovine, and I would like to have you explain a little bit about your early life.
Yes, sir.
What was it like?
So when I was born, I was staying with my mom and my stepdad, and I was being abused. And I went to school with bruises, and they kept asking what happened. And I told them one day, and they said they weren't going to say nothing, but they said something to my parents. So I got beat again. And then I came back to school and told them what happened, and they took us to CPS. So we got taken away from our family. And I was in CPS for a while, and they were trying to put me on the right meds because I
What
had
happened next?
my grandma got us and my mom got killed in 2010. They say she died from an accidental overdose, but I believe she got killed. And I just went crazy. I started self-medicating. I didn't know what to do with myself.
How old were you then?
I think I was about 10, and I just lost a lot of my mind. And I had my grandma, so I was happy. And then I started doing electrical work, and I've been doing electrical work. I don't have a record. I've never been locked up before. I work and I pay my bills, and I try to keep the little family I got left. And I had my dad, but he passed away while I was in here. So it's just me and my sisters. Well, when I got out, when I was out there working, my grandma died, and I lost my mind again because she was the only thing that I had left as a
When you
parent.
say you lost your mind, what does that mean?
I just started spiraling downhill. I lost my job. I started self-medicating, and I don't really do drugs like that, but I started self-medicating, hanging around the wrong people, and then I wasn't
And
I wasn't taking my medication. I was going to the doctor before, and I stopped taking my medication. So
and as a result of that, what happened next?
this incident happened, and I was hanging around the wrong people. I can promise you, I'm not that type of person. I don't know what was going through my mind. I was on drugs, and I was self-medicating and wasn't on my medicine. And by the time I realized it, I know I messed up. I went to the Center for Healthcare Services and got help.
What
And
kind of help did you receive?
I got all my medications, and they gave me a psychiatrist, and they gave me a counselor, and they started helping me get on my meds. I told them that I messed up and I needed help. So I started looking to try to fix myself, and I just realized I messed up and there was nothing I could do to fix it. So I tried to do better. And
Now, you've been in custody for 3 years.
Yes,
give or
sir.
take. Where did you spend part of the time?
I spent it here, and then I just really needed to go to the hospital. My mind state wasn't in the right state of mind. I was hearing voices. I was just freaking out. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was just losing my mind. And I've been here for 3 years. I've been to lockdown one time for 3 years. I have not had no fights. I'm not an aggressive person.
All right, and just so that the record can be clear, the reason why he was at the Bear County Jail for 3 years is because he was found incompetent and he was sent to the state hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
That's nothing to do with the 187 District Court keeping him in
No.
custody for
No.
3 years.
I understand
All
that,
right.
Your Honor, and what I was getting at was the next part of the story. As a result of this, you ended up in Vernon, is that correct?
Yes, sir. To get help, and I think they helped me with
Tell us
everything.
what they did.
They put me on medication. They
What
gave me
kind of medication?
they gave me anxiety medication, bipolar medicine. They gave me sleeping medicine, and I was hearing a lot of voices at the time.
What
and-
medicine, what
Seroquel,
name?
Seroquel, Boost Bar. They had me on Klonopin. They had me on Zyprexa. They had me on they had me on another medication. I don't recall what it was called.
What are you on now when you're here?
They had me on Boost Bar. They agreed to let me keep taking the Seroquel for the voices, and they give me propanolol for the anxiety and depression, and they also give me Seroquel, Boost Bar, and propanolol.
All right. And you understand that mental illness or extreme abuse as a child is not an excuse for doing what you pled to.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
So why should this court even consider putting you back on the street or back in society?
Because I promised I could be a productive member of society. I will do as much time of probation as you want me to. I promise I will not mess up. I just ask if you could please give me a second chance. That's all I'm asking for. I promise you could look at my back history. I'm not that type of person. I just lost my mind because I lost my grandma, and that was the last thing. And all I got is my brothers and sisters now, and my sister just had kids, and I really want to be a part of their lives.
Well, the court may restrict you if she were to grant probation or a form of probation from being around children under 18.
Yes, sir. I would gladly accept that and do better and finish probation, and then I could see them. I will do right. I will be on my medications. What I'm gonna do is go to the Center for Healthcare Services and get help, even if I am outpatient. I please ask that I can be outpatient. I'm gonna go through Center for Healthcare Services by myself, like as I want to, because they really help. And I also got a doctor I go to regularly. So I'm gonna get on my medications, get on the right medications and do right. I plan on still being an electrician. I know a place that'll hire me as I work for a dentist office,
All right.
and they'll hire me
Let
when I
me
get out.
stop you right there. Now, the court could order a mental health, not screening, but a program for you to participate in if the court so chooses.
Yes, sir.
Are you willing to do
I
that?
will gladly go to any programs that they want me to, any classes that I need to. I will show up to everything. I just please ask, can I have one more chance? This is my first time getting locked up. I can promise you, I will do all I can in my will to do better and finish probation. I will do as much time as you want. And I know you probably hear that a lot and people mess up, but I can promise you I'm gonna do better. I'm not gonna hang out with nobody, none of the same people. I'm not talking to any of them. I'm gonna surround myself with positive people and just stay out the way and do better for myself, and not just for myself, but for my family and the people around me. I think I could be a productive member of society, and I'm ready to go back into the world and be a better person.
If the court orders you to maintain on medicine and report, say every week or every other week for drug screening, mental health counseling and or proof of taking your medication, are you willing to do that?
Yes, sir. I really don't need the drugs. I don't have a problem stopping drugs at all because I take medications out there and they work fine for me. They help me. So I really just started doing drugs because I lost my mind when my grandma died. She was like everything to me. That was the only thing I had left. And me and my dad didn't really have a connection. So I didn't really talk to him. And then when I was in here, he died, and now I really don't got anybody. So, but I got my brothers and sisters, that's for sure. And I know my sister's always gonna be there for me. And I think she will help me through this whole situation and in me taking my meds. And I promise I will take my meds. I like taking my meds because they make me feel like a better person. Honestly, after I got back from the hospital, I feel so much better. I feel happier. I'm not hearing the voices like I was. I feel like a better person. Like I said, I have not been in no fights since I've been here the whole time. I'm not an aggressive person. I don't cause problems. I try to stay out the way. And
Now that you have your medication, you talked about how it is different.
yes, sir.
Have you ever been on the medication that is prescribed for you before?
Yes, sir. I've been through so much medications, and they try to find the right ones for me. I was
Did they
once on,
find the right one?
yes, sir. I was once on Adderall,
for my ADHD. And then another time I was on another pill for anxiety and then for the voices and the schizophrenia through a doctor.
Now you have medication. You're telling us for it that the medication you're currently on works.
Yes, sir. Man, I feel like a better person. I feel positive. I know I could get back out there and get back to work. I just please ask for one more chance and I promise I won't mess it up. If I do, I will gladly do as much time as you want me to do.
Well, this is a up to 99-year.
Yes, sir, I understand that. I would not be mad at the judge for giving me whatever time she would give me if I mess up.
And if the court required you to wear an ankle monitor for and drug patch, can you do that?
Oh, yes, for sure.
What are you asking of this court that we haven't covered already?
Nothing. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for spiraling down and getting in this position. And I just ask you, please give me one more chance. That's all I really just want one more chance. I want to be there with the little family I got left. I lost a lot of family since I've been in here, and I just don't know what I'll do if I lose another one.
I'm about to pass you to the prosecutor for questioning. Is there anything that you'd like to say that we haven't covered?
I think I covered everything.
Ask the witness.
So earlier you said that you were hanging out with the wrong crowd, is that right?
Yes, sir.
But would it surprise you that in this case, the people that you're hanging around with, they pointed to you as the wrong crowd?
Yes, sir. I see they did that, but that is wrong. I hear what you said earlier on how they said that I was the one that did everything. I can promise you I wasn't. I was in the wrong place. I wasn't even supposed to be. I didn't even know what was going on till there was guns drawn and I didn't have no gun. If I was the intent to try to do something like that, I would have had a gun too. I didn't have no gun. I do admit that I was there. I was self-medicating. I don't know what I was thinking of being in that house, but I was freaking out. It just happened so fast. But nothing left that house, I can promise you, in my hands.
So it was interesting because you just apologized, said you were sorry for spiraling out and getting to this point. Right?
Yes, sir.
But I never heard an apology towards any of the victims in this case.
Oh, I really do apologize to all the victims. I wish they were here so I could tell them to their face.
Ask the witness.
Any other questions?
The 3 or 4 other.
I'm sorry, he's on redirect. Any other questions?
Oh, no, Your Honor. I was just gonna make sure that he wouldn't be associating with the other.
Sure.
Yes, sir. I won't be associating at all with them.
All right, any other questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you, Judge Boyd.
All right, I have questions.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, how do you know Alfonso Diaz?
I met him one day on Facebook, and he was a drug dealer, basically. That's
All
how I
right, how do you
of-
know Myra Adape?
I don't really know her. She was selling drinks after hours on Facebook.
Oh, I didn't even know that's a thing now.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's how I met her.
all right. So in other words, that would be moonshining, I guess.
Yeah.
Who is Eric Alderete?
That guy I don't know at all. I've never heard of that name. I was told about the report and I've never heard of that guy. I never knew that guy.
Okay, because in the PSI report, I'm sorry, in the stipulations,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
states that you would go over to that house and your normal thing that you would do is you would show up and then you would go get your girlfriend and you all would come into the house. Is that true?
No, I said that?
No, that's what the complainants are saying.
No, you're talking about, you said Eric?
Yes. How
No.
often have you been to that house?
I've never been to Eric's house. It's Alfonso Diaz's house.
Okay, how often have you been?
I've been there a couple times.
All right,
Just to pick up some stuff for my friends. Like I'll go through and
To pick up what?
some drugs.
All right. And then how do you know Brian Pickney?
I met him on Facebook,
And how do you know Adam Cordova
Facebook.
and Jessica Aragon?
Jessica Aragon was my ex for 8 years.
All right, so from the stipulations, these people were selling drugs from their home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so with regards to restitution, I can tell everybody, victim 1 is saying a $50,000 black Rolex watch was stolen. I don't have any proof of that. They're saying $100,000 platinum necklace was stolen. I don't have any proof of that. 2 cell phones, I have no proof of that. Wallet and money, don't have any proof of that. $2,000 worth of cocaine, they're not getting that back.
Yes, ma'am.
$100 worth of marijuana,
Yes,
they're
ma'am.
not getting that back. 1 television valued at $300. Victim 2, a $500 gold rosary. You know, at some point in time, what, if it's a rosary, if it's representation of Jesus Christ, that should give people pause.
Yes,
I don't have any proof of that. They're not getting that. $100 James Avery silver necklace. They're not getting that. I don't know any necklace
They're-
at James Avery that costs $100.
yeah, they're just big drug dealers.
Excuse me,
Oh,
don't
sorry.
interrupt.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, apologize.
Vehicle keys, I don't have any proof of that. 2 grams of marijuana, they're not getting restitution for that. Victim 3, $400 Samsung 820 cell phone. That's cheap. Now they say those cell phones are $1,500. $200 Fossil smartwatch, $80 in cash and 4 grams of marijuana. I don't have anything before me that would justify the court or any evidence to giving that restitution amount back for any of the items. And for the court, that's the cost of doing business if you're a drug dealer. Maybe the people that you sell drugs to and drinks to are going to come in and rob you. You put it in your insurance. So I'm not going to grant them any restitution. Now, with regards to your application,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not going to grant your application. According to the stipulations, what happened is you were the person that they never would have been able to get into that home if you didn't show up with your girlfriend. They state in the stipulations what your routine was. So they trusted you as a buyer of drugs. In Texas and in elsewhere, guess what? If you're a drug dealer, you still can be a victim of robbery, right? You can't pull a gun on somebody and take their drugs.
Yes, ma'am.
They're not going to get any restitution for those drugs, but you can't pull a gun on somebody and take their items. What they're stating in the stipulations is you were a party.
Yes, ma'am.
So you with your girlfriend, who was the driver, you all drove over to this location. They see it's you, they know it's you. So they're a little bit down on being vigilant. They let you in. And then immediately coming behind you, you go back outside. And then when you come back, you bring these other people with you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you committed an aggravated robbery. And you took these items, whether or not they had the $100,000 platinum necklace and the black Rolex watch, I don't know. They're not getting restitution for it, but I know what you did could have resulted in many people in that house getting killed. So I'm not going to grant your application. I'm going to find you guilty in counts 1, 2, and 3. Counts 1, 2, and 3 are going to run concurrent. I'm going to follow the agreement that you've reached, which is 9 years prison on each count. Give you credit for any time served. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. I'll give him credit for the time that he spent in inpatient treatment. There's to be no contact with Brian Pickney, Adam Cordova, Jessica Aragon, no contact with any minors, Alfonso Diaz, Myra Aldape, Eric Alderete. I'm going to request the therapeutic community and the mental health unit. I have no jurisdiction over the jail, over the prison to have them place you in that program. You're going to have to request it as well. Do you understand? Is there something else you would like to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I didn't let them in the house, man. Like, I didn't let them in the house. I didn't let them in the house. I didn't even plan on robbing them. I did go over there. I know I did go over there, but I did not plan on robbing them. I had no gun. I didn't put no gun to nobody. I promise I didn't put no gun to nobody.
Well, wait a second. The door opened. This is the stipulations. The door opened before Alfonso could answer it and defendant 1 entered. You're defendant 1. Alfonso and Myra know defendant 1 as Jay, that's you, and were no longer alarmed. Alfonso greeted defendant 1, who looked around and said he would be back. Alfonso says, Jay, that's you,
Yes, ma'am.
usually walks back to his vehicle and would return with suspect 1. Suspect 1 is Jay's girlfriend and is known to Alfonso as Jessica Ann Aragon. Alfonso was going to shut his door when defendant 1 returned and allowed defendant 2 and 3 to enter Alfonso's house. Defendant 2 and 3 pointed handguns with lasers at Alfonso, Myra, Eric, while defendant 1, that's you, demanded their property.
I didn't do that though. I didn't demand their property.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? Yes.
Yes, I can't have probation.
No. And we can go off the record. Let me explain something to you. And this is the law of parties. Let's say there's a convenience store. And I know at that convenience store, they're going to have a lot of money on Tuesday. And I want to go in there and rob that convenience store. But I can't do it by myself. I need help. And let's say I don't have a vehicle. Via bus don't take that route. So I come to you and your girlfriend and say, hey, I'm going to rob this store. I don't have a vehicle. Can you all drive me there? And you and your girlfriend say, yeah, if we can get some of the money. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you $80. And you all drive me to that convenience store. And then I'm not a violent person, but things may get violent. So I ask somebody else, hey, you're a shooter. You have violent tendencies. I want to rob this convenience store. And just in case things go sideways, will you be able to help me out? And they tell me, yes, we'll help you out, but you need to give us some money. And I say, I'll give you $200. They say yes. We go into the convenience store because you and your girlfriend drive me there. Guess what? I wouldn't have been able to get that convenience store if you and your girlfriend haven't driven me there. And you know what's about to go down. I go in the convenience store. The clerk is supposed to give me the money. He's getting antsy. He pulls a gun from behind the counter. The person who I'm bringing with me for muscle shoots him. Guess what? You didn't have a gun. Your girlfriend didn't have a gun, but y'all are all a part of this. So guess what? Your girlfriend is charged with aggravated robbery. You're charged with aggravated robbery. I didn't have a gun. I'm charged with aggravated robbery. The muscle person is charged with aggravated robbery. So it's just like you had a gun. Do you understand? Now, how old are you?
28.
All right, you're 28. You will be able to still have your life ahead of you when you're released from the prison. Because it's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon, you're going to have to do half your time before you're eligible for probation. Eligible for parole. So that means your half time is day for day. So that's 4.5 years. And those 4.5 years, you need to start thinking about what you can do so you won't be back in front of a court for this type of offense. Do you understand? Or any offense?
There's no way you could give me 7 years.
No. And I will tell you this, you're lucky that your attorney was able to get 9 years for you. Because you put 3 people's lives in danger. And for what? For things. Right? And at the end of the day, guess what? When we all die and we're long gone, that black Rolex watch, that 100,000 platinum necklace, somebody else is going to be wearing it. And stop, destroying your body with drugs. All right?
These people are lying. It's not none of that.
I know. In the report, they're drug dealers. I know they're drug dealers. Guess what? That's why they're not getting any restitution. That and the fact that they didn't bring me anything to prove that those items were in fact items that they had.
But most of it's lies.
All right, thank you. All right, who wants to give a victim impact statement? No. I mean, if they want to give a statement, then they need to come. And then perhaps they want to explain why they're selling drugs in Bexar County. All right, thank you. All right, thanks. Fred Menezes? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Let me take up the interpreter real quick. Who is the interpreter here for?
Ortiz Hernandez.
All right, Ortiz Hernandez. And then counsel, I'll take you right up after that.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good, and you, Judge?
Oh, I'm doing great. So and sorry, counsel, what's your name?
Chris Garcia on behalf of Roland Gutierrez, Judge.
All right, so where are we on discovery?
Discovery is in good order, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge, that's correct.
All right, and this case, there are no CPS records or anything, correct?
No, Judge,
All right, state, were you able to tender an offer?
We were, Judge.
that is correct.
All right, and are there any issues, immigration?
That's correct, Judge.
And are you going to address the immigration issues?
Yes, Judge, I need to do a Padilla letter. We just got an offer today and I need to do a Padilla letter, Judge, and my advisors.
All right. All right, then, Ms. Ferguson, set this for 30 days for plea deadline date, please. All right, we're gonna come back on August 8th. On August 8th, you need to let the court know whether or not you're accepting the plea bargaining agreement. If you choose not to come to an agreement, then this will be scheduled for jury trial.
Judge, because he's in custody and if he decides to take the deal, is there a way that I could set the case a little earlier than 30 days, Judge?
Yes, just ask Ms. Ferguson to bring it back. If you want an earlier date, do you wish to have an earlier date?
I wish to have an earlier date, Judge.
All right, what date are you requesting?
Judge, if we can come back in a week,
All right,
let me look at my calendar because Mr. Gutierrez, I'm handling this one.
all right, we can do it Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday.
Judge, can we come back on Thursday?
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can you put this on Thursday? All right, we'll be back on Thursday. Sir, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, so we will be back on July 18th.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe we can excuse Judge?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge.
Norma, what page is he on?
Right, thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Have a great one. Hi, thank you. You said page 8? Okay, I see what's throwing me off. Thank you. All right, Mr. Menezes.
So Judge, the form and a half form are disconnected, which is the same issue I had back in April when he missed his court date.
And the bondsman?
I reached out to the bondsman. They think one of their employees misspelled his last name, so they cannot find him in their system anywhere. So.
All right. Then we're going to go back on the record in 2024 CR 5894, State versus Fred Menezes. And defense, you said
I have reached out to the bail bond company, Atlanta Bail Bonds. They were not able to find Mr. Menezes in their system. They suspect that one of their employees misspelled his last name. And so they couldn't cross-reference to try and find out any contact numbers for him to relate to.
all right. Then what the court will do, the court will issue a judge's warrant and remain your client without bond. If your client makes an appearance, the court will reconsider.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
If you excuse me.
Yeah, do a judge's warrant. And it's because the bondsman is saying they misspelled his name, so they can't even find him in their system. John Anthony Ramirez. And after that, it will be Raul Iglesias after this one.
Ready, Your Honor.
All right. All right, so we are here for updates. Where are we, counsel?
Yes, Judge, with regard to his probation status, he's been meeting regularly, with his probation officer. He is connected with the Center for Healthcare Services. Judge, he did have a couple of missed submissions, but he has incurred some financial hardships, but we're working through it. He's gonna have some familiar support to help him with those payments of that, Judge.
All right, everyone, please whisper.
But I know that last time we were here in January, Your Honor, you released him out because he had provided proof that he was in fact seeing Center for Healthcare Services.
Mhm.
And I believe this honorable court set it for a status check about 6 months after that date, which is over here now. But he's ultimately doing well. He has been on probation since, as the court is aware, since 2017. With the potential end date of April 2025. I've advised him to finish out strong, do everything that is required under probation, and to continue staying out of trouble, Judge, which it seems like he's doing.
All right. And so probation is also asking for the dual diagnosis outpatient,
Yes, sir.
but he's with the Center for Healthcare Services.
That's correct, Judge.
Okay.
Yes.
Probation, is there anything you wish to say?
No, Judge.
All right, so counsel, if you don't mind, I want to make sure that we keep updates with Mr. Ramirez.
Don't mind at all, sir.
All right, so we're gonna call you back in 3 more months, and it's just to make sure that you're on track, because I don't want you to fall off track, because if you fall off track, there are gonna be issues, you understand?
I understand.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, Ramirez, can we recall this in 3 months? Thank you, Mr. Munoz.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, October 7th.
Got that date down. Yes,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep up the good work. And Norma, that's just for an update, or you can put it in a status. You're welcome. All right, are the parties ready on Raul Iglesias?
Ready, Your Honor.
All right. The court is calling 2024 CR 3789 and 2024 3800, State of Texas versus Raul Iglesias. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garrett, Your Honor.
Defense.
James Seeloff for the defense.
And are you Mr. Iglesias?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I never know what to do with the C either. Okay. Counsel, have you received all the discovery?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
And did you review it with your client?
Yes, I have.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Iglesias, did you review the documents entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication and Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the true bill of indictments with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictments?
Yes, we waived the reading.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented? All right.
No objection.
And the cause number ending in 3789, you're charged with evading arrest, detention of a vehicle. That's a 3rd-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. And the cause number ending in 3800, you're charged with unauthorized use of a vehicle. That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. And each of these cause numbers, if I were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, and if your deferred adjudication were revoked, and the cause number ending in 3789, you could potentially be sent to prison for up to 10 years and a $10,000 fine. And the cause number ending in 3800, you could potentially be sent to prison for 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court doesn't follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in each of these cause number?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, he has.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe he does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
And each cause number, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. And each cause number, did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And each cause number, the state is requesting a $2,000 fine, recommending deferred adjudication. The cause numbers will run concurrently. They're taking in consideration night mag number 705-267, 723-983. There's to be restitution to Michael Soto and the cause number ending in 3800. There's also restitution to Olga Teo, Tello, and cause number 723-983. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
That's the plea.
State, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, there has not.
Outside the agreement and the cause number ending in 3789. The state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 10 years. And the cause number ending in 3800, state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 2 years. In each cause number, that there be a TAP evaluation, 200 hours of community service restitution, and no contact with Michael Soto and Olga Teo. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then in the cause number ending in 3789, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
And in the cause number ending in 3800, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State any evidence. Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, state you may be excused. Oh, do you have documents for me to sign?
I would like to speak to the number of years on deferred. If
Okay.
the state wants to stay and argue with me.
All right, state if you want to be excused and come back to when we get to that point.
Okay, thank you.
Right. All right, Mr. Iglesias, did you review the documents entitled waiver and consent to stipulations of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty in each cause number. The court will defer finding of guilt as you applied for deferred adjudication. And do you wish to proceed with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor. We waive PSI.
And you wish to speak to the length of probation?
Yes, the state has recommended 10 years. Probationary term for the deferred adjudication. This young man is 18 years old. He had a couple of bad days. He lives at home. He does landscaping for employment. He's got a sophomore education, high school up to sophomore year. He says he wants and going to get GED with the help of the probation department. I humbly request that the probationary term be reduced to something like 7 years. By that time, everything should be taken up. And as far as the taken into consideration charge, that was a marijuana, very small amount of marijuana on the TIC, which is a nutmeg number. And the misdemeanor, it has to do with the incident here, failure to stop and give information, I guess it's called. But he's only 18 years old, so I asked the court to take that into consideration. Thank you. Do you want to say anything?
No, ma'am.
All right, why are you driving around in stolen vehicles?
I have no idea, miss. It was just joyriding.
All right, so you have no idea. So where did you take the vehicle from?
I actually bought the vehicle, but I knew that it was stolen.
All right, yeah, because nobody buys a vehicle when the ignition is missing, the ignition where you place the key. And my understanding, the steering column was damaged as well.
That's right.
So who did you buy it from? And when I say who, what were their ages?
Really, miss, they were like a little bit younger than me. Like they were minors, and I bought it off an account in Instagram. I
All
was
right,
added
so-
to a group chat.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
So you're 18, so you bought a stolen vehicle from somebody who's younger than you.
That's right.
I don't know what the world is coming to.
It's a weird one out there.
So how far did you go in school?
Just sophomore, miss.
All right, so why were you not in school?
I had problems with some of the administrators, so I just
Okay,
decided
so
to.
problems with authority. What's your problem with the administrators? That they told you needed to go to class every day?
No,
So
I-
what was your problem?
I don't know how to, I guess it's just because I wouldn't keep up with the dress code and. Yeah.
What
Like I
dress
would,
code?
I would wear slides instead of going this.
Well, why
Well-
would you wear slides to school? And they tell you not to wear slides?
Yeah,
I don't know, miss, I just wanted to be in slides.
All right, that makes no sense to me. There are rules for a reason.
Yes, ma'am.
And now,
Act of rebellion.
well, that's a poor choice to lay your flag on. Because at the end of the day, now you're before me, you're 18 years old, you have 2 felonies. And you don't even have a high school diploma.
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to go back to school. I'm
And
trying to
I
get my
will tell you,
GED.
when I was growing up, having a high school diploma, you could go get you a nice, as my mom would call it, plant job, and you would be there forever and it'd be enough to support you. Now, sometimes if you have your high school diploma and your undergraduate, people will tell you your undergraduate degree is not enough. You need a master's, then you need a doctor's. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You are at the crossroads of your life right now. And either you're going to end up going to prison or either you're going to end up turning your life around. If you go to prison, guess what? They have a place for you. There's always money in somebody's budget to build another prison, and they'll have a place waiting right for you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. So who are you going to be staying with if you're released?
My mom.
And does your mom want you there?
Yes, ma'am.
These are the rules. Your mom, that's her house. It's not your house.
Yes, ma'am.
You need to follow her rules. If she wants you in the house at a certain time, you need to be there. If she wants the television off, you need to turn it off because that is not your house. Do not bring girlfriends and these random people to her home. That is her sanctuary. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And help around the house, clean, cook her meal. Because I'm assuming she works.
Yes, ma'am.
And she did not anticipate that her son would be at the jail with felony charges for buying a vehicle that's stolen from someone who's younger than him. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And the cause number ending in 3789. This is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to a $2,000 fine. That will be probated.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This will run concurrent with 2024 CR 3800. Take in consideration night mag number 705-267. County Court 11-723-983.
Yes, Your Honor.
There's to be restitution, if any, to Olga Teo in cause number 723-983. There's to be no contact with Olga Teo. Have you ever used any drugs?
No, ma'am.
All right. Court is going to sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication, 200 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order the defensive driving course. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular random UAs. And I'm going to order, you're going to obtain your GED. Once you have your GED, 100 hours of your community service will be waived. And then you're either going to go to somebody's college or either you're going to go to somebody's trade school. And I would suggest plumbing or welding. They always need welders and plumbers. Guess what? People will only call a plumber usually when there's an emergency. So they're not going to quibble with price. So, and then, so if he's in a trade school and he obtains his certificate, then I'll waive the remaining of the 100 hours. I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month for 4 months. There's going to be proof of employment within 45 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Probation, is there anything else that's needed in that cause number?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Next, we're going to move on to the cause number ending in 3800. There's going to be a $2,000 fine that will be probated.
Thank you.
This will run concurrent with 2024 CR 3789. Take in consideration NIMAG number 705-267, County Court Cause number 723-983. There's to be restitution to Michael Soto and Olga Teo, and no contact with Michael Soto and Olga Teo. 2 years deferred adjudication. 200 hours of community service restitution. Again, I'm going to require you to obtain your GED, and 100 hours will be deemed satisfied. And then another 100 hours for completion of trade school or higher education. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular random UAs, defensive driving, field visits, 1 time per month for 4 months, proof of employment within 45 days, no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Probation, is there anything else in that?
Judge, I just wanted to get clarification from the state in regards to the restitution in this one.
Well, there's,
Both cases restitution from Olga Teo, Judge.
yes. And then in each cause number, I'm going to require TAP evaluation. That can be done out of custody. Follow TAP recommendations. If TAP recommends inpatient treatment, we'll begin with outpatient treatment.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, probation, is there anything else? All right, Mr. Iglesias, is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
No, ma'am.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because these are plea bargain agreements, because I followed your plea bargain agreements, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. Here's my theft course for you. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. If somebody invites you to a party, make sure that they are allowed to bring a +1. If they're not, that means that you're not invited. If you ever go to a location and somebody asks you to leave, leave. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And don't break the law. Follow the rules.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, you could find yourself in prison. All right, in this court, to be successful on probation, communication is key. Keep in touch with your probation officer. If you have an issue, if you see that you're going to use drugs, let them know. We are here to make sure that you are successful on probation. If you feel as though they're not addressing an issue that you have, you can always come back to the court and address it with me. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Anne Marie Alvarez, Alexandria. Who's the attorney? Who's the attorney for Anne Marie Alvarez, Alexandria?
Alexandria, Alabama.
All right,
Anne Marie, got me.
all right, thanks.
Sir, I didn't know your name.
Joseph Upheld, but
All right, what is happening with this case?
it's being TIC the dismissal judge standard.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
It looks like this case was filed at large. We'd already filed on other cases from the same date, so this
Okay.
case TIC was.
Okay,
We would have done
awesome.
it at the time.
I was wondering why she was back. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
All right. And I bet you were like, no.
I was.
Thank you for dressing appropriately for court, and there you are.
I got it.
All right, have a great day.
You too.
May I be excused, Judge?
Yes.